All right, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be writing equations of special segments, okay? So we are connecting algebra with these geometric ideas. So real quick, as a quick recall, I'm giving you guys the definitions of these geometry terms so that we can apply them, all right, when we're trying to write the equations of them. So the first one is an altitude. And again, what an altitude is the perpendicular segment. That's a really important phrase right there, all right? Connecting the vertex with the line containing the opposite side, okay? So perpendicular segment is the key idea there, all right? And now with median, it's a segment that connects a vertex with the midpoint. That's a very big idea of the opposite side, okay? So before we start, I just want to really quickly just kind of go over some of the theorems or the formulas that we're going to be using, okay? So first thing that we're going to use is the midpoint formula, all right? So if we really quick recall, the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma y1 plus y2 divided by 2, okay? We're going to be using that. We're also going to be using our slope formula, and our slope formula is y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And we will be talking about perpendicular slopes. And again, remember, perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay. We are going to be writing equations into slope-intercept form. So that's going to be y is equal to mx plus b. But remember, I do it by plugging it into point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is where we're going to start, all right? These are like the key formulas that we're going to be using based off of the definitions and the segments that we're trying to find today, okay? So if we look at the first one, all right, the first one is asking us to use the figure below to write the equation of the altitude and the median from vertex C. So if I was doing this question, the first thing I would notice is what vertex it has to come from, all right? So it's telling me it's coming from vertex C, which is, if you look at this picture right here, this is vertex C, all right? So 18, 0 is the vertex we're going to be looking at right here, okay? And let's start with a median. So if we could really quick remember what's going on with a median is it is connecting that vertex C with the midpoint of the opposite side, right? So what we're going to have to do is if I was just going to sketch this in, I would eyeball the midpoint, and then I would connect them like that, right? So the fact that the first step that I would do would be to eyeball the midpoint is actually the first thing that I'm going to do, all right, when I'm finding the equation of the median, is I'm going to find the midpoint of that segment, okay? So again, like we've done in the past, I'm going to write out the steps so that you guys know what to reference back when you're doing this on your own. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the midpoint of segment AB. And I'm going to write out those points. So A is 0, 0, and B is 12, 6. And I'm going to go straight across x1, y1, x2, y2. And now plugging into my midpoint formula, I'm going to do 0 plus 12 divided by 2, comma, 0 plus 6 divided by 2. All right, which means that my midpoint is 6, 3. Okay. So that's your first step, all right, is to find the midpoint of that segment. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to find the equation now of this segment right here that's connecting those 2 points, okay? So my second step now is I'm going to find the equation using that midpoint, all right, which was 6, 3, and vertex C, because that's what it has to pass through, which is 18, 0. So how do I find the equation? Well, the first step is I need to find my slope. Right? So again, I'm going to go straight across, label these x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'm going to plug into my slope formula. So I'm going to do 0 minus 3 all over 18 minus 6, which gives me negative 3 over 12, which gives me a slope of negative 1/4. So from there now, I'm going to plug into point slope form. All right, so I'm going to plug my equation into point slope form. And remember what point slope form is. is it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I have my slope, all right, which is negative 1/4. And now the point that I pick doesn't matter as long as you pick either the midpoint or point C, okay? And I'm going to go with point C. So I'm going to take 18, 0, plug it into my point slope form. So I'm going to get y minus 0 equals my slope of negative 1/4 times x minus 18. Okay? Now, y minus 0 is just y equals, and now I'm going to distribute that through. So I'm going to get negative 1/4 x plus 18 over 4, which simplifies into, which is my final answer, negative 1/4 x plus 9 halves. And that's my equation. So that was to find the median, all right? Now, when we come back, I'm going to find the altitude, and then we're going to go into perpendicular bisectors.